Hey guys, guess what? Welcome to Tiffindale Rescue Realtors. We are finally coming back at you. I think we missed a week or so.
Yeah, just a week.
That's because Tiffany was partying in Ireland. And yeah, so here we are. We're back
Living
today.
it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we are going to try and be a little more on point.
No, we're not.
With these a little bit. I think the mic might be too far away. Let me adjust us. Hopefully that fixes our sound.
We are adjusted. I talk louder than you.
You do. I kind of point it towards me a little more.
Plus my voice just carries more because I'm like a guy.
I don't feel like the sound has been terrible on the podcast with this mic.
I kind of like it.
It's okay.
It's kind of weird staring at it, but
it's right there, but it works.
Hey, but we are going to try to be a little more on point. We go through phases where we're like have to babble a lot, and other times, well, we're just going to be
straight to the point.
Straight to the point. So, you know that with me that I've been really focusing on trying to help agents run their business like a business because most of them don't know that, and there are so many facets
really
to that.
Short.
So many facets to running your business, and all the way from as simple as you need to have a business bank account. You don't need to run your expenses through your personal account. We talked about needing a bookkeeper. We talked about all that. But before you even have a business, you've got to generate clients. And I know we've kind of talked about this before, and I promise you we'll talk about it again.
Because it's kind of the biggest thing in this industry. I mean, if you don't have clients, you're not a realtor.
That's it.
I mean,
you
really,
got it.
I mean, you can sit here and think, I'm going to all these networking events and I'm working all these hours, but you're not really working. You're just pretending to work.
Yeah, you're. Well, first you have to talk about networking events and separate those realtor networking events versus public networking events. But
which they have their place. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we have ours on Wednesdays and we think that they're great. But if you get to a point where all you're doing is going to realtor networking events and hopping and being like, I have had such a busy day, but what do you say? It's where it's don't be busy.
You can be
in your.
You're doing the on your business.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I've got a better one for that. When you're going to realtor events for networking all the time, and believe me, I do believe in going to them because I think that it's important that you know other agents. But if you don't have clients and you're not working and you're going to those in lieu of the networking lead generation stuff, you're not going to be successful. You will be full and drunk all the time, but you'll be broke.
Yeah, but at least you're getting free food.
That's right. So you won't starve.
Yeah. You
might become an alcoholic, but you'll be broke.
I think that you just have to accept you're probably going to become an alcoholic becoming a realtor.
That is not the correct answer, Tiffany.
I'm kidding.
At all.
I don't drink very much, actually, to be honest with you.
So running your business like a business, Tiffany said it. I'm going to say it a little bit differently in Dale, and then we're going to hit a point or two. One, if you don't have clients, you don't have a business, lead generation is the most important part in your business. And all lead generation breaks down to, we're not going to go over all of our sheet here, but the simple answer is...
He's got 58 of them.
I know. The simple answer is you have to have more conversations about real estate with more people.
Than you want to.
Yeah, the stat is something like out of every 55 conversations, you get one client or one lead. It's not even a client, it's a lead.
And think about that from even just like an open house perspective. So say you have one open house and you have 20 people come through and none of those actually yield a return. Well, then you got to do another one and then another one and then you'll have 60 and maybe you'll get one. So you just have to kind of keep at it. And I think staying organized is helpful too, and some people have their own different methods of organization. We could do a whole other episode on CRMs and databases and things like that, whether you use them, whether you don't. If you don't use them, have something, but what are you doing with those leads when you capture them? And some of them aren't really leads in a sense that you have them sign a sign-in sheet for the open house and you have their information. Some of them are just the guy that you strike up a conversation with waiting for your table at the restaurant.
Absolutely.
And but that's kind of where Dale's talking about, where you kind of just continually need to be talking about real estate, and where I say even when you don't want to, because we all get to that point where it's like, oh my God, I just kind of want to chill. I don't feel like talking about it today, or you get tired of having the same conversation over and over, because you know how it is in real estate or as a realtor. Somebody finds out you're a realtor, and immediately their first question is what?
How's the market?
Yes, and you're like, or what's the next one? It's a C word.
I don't know.
The crash.
Oh, the crash that's coming?
Yeah.
That's not?
So you get tired of having these conversations, but you have to be a broken record.
You do have to be a broken record sometimes, and you just follow, and they're very natural conversations. They don't, but I do recommend.
Try not to roll your eyes after you've done it 50 times.
They're natural conversations that you don't want to roll your eyes in. But you probably do need to kind of have a script for that, because any conversation you enter into with someone you know, someone that's an acquaintance, it will, certainly if you lead it right, but it will always lead to, how's the market? Mm-hmm. Should I buy a house? Should I sell my house?
Everybody wants to know about real estate.
Absolutely.
I mean, people's favorite pastime is just looking at houses on Zillow.
Yeah, it's kind of
even
weird.
if they're not in the market.
And it's because everybody has to live somewhere. That's why I say that it's everyone's favorite topic. Everybody has to live somewhere. So let's talk about a couple of topics of lead generation. Number one, we kind of talked about this inside of all of that. Number one always is your sphere of influence, or the people that you do business with, or your past clients when you develop some of those. Referral sources, that kind of thing. They're very simple. You got to stay in contact with them. Again, I'm not quoting these stats for real. I could make them up. But like 92% of all people that buy a house say they would use their same agent again, but they can't remember their name.
Isn't that awful? Especially when you worked with them for so long.
I'm like, that's insane.
Well, and I think that another thing that we need to kind of get in the habit of, because I actually did that this morning. I've got a couple of closings with a buy-sell going on right now, but the house that my clients purchased is a FSBO. Well, I did a great job, I think. And one of the things that I did whenever I kind of said thank you to the seller was, hey, if you know anybody that needs a realtor, please, I would be honored if you passed along my information. And we don't do the ask.
Oh my gosh,
so many times
absolutely.
we don't do the ask. I mean, that's something that's a missed opportunity, you know, like just letting him know, just saying a quick little statement of letting him know, hey, I know you handled your transaction on your own, air quotes, but if you know anybody that needs my services, please remember me. And he knows that I did a good job, so he will hopefully pass along my info. He might not, he might forget me, but at least I tried, and at least I made the ask. And
you hopefully,
I will follow up.
Maybe captured his name, email, name, phone number, and you can follow up with him now. He may be your best referral source.
Exactly. You never know.
You don't ever know, and you have to build your database, follow up with him, do what you have to. Sphere of influence, past clients, always number one. Nobody has a choice but to have that as a lead generation pillar. I'll use that word. Pillar, spoke, system. But get a system in place to do that, because it will help you immensely. Now you get to add to that. I don't think anybody should be working, if you're new or newer, until you have one system built out. You shouldn't be working on more than about 2 or 3 at a time.
You'll get really overwhelmed. It's kind of like, it's like when you go on a really strict diet after not being on a strict diet. It's not going to last very long, and you're going to peter out. You kind of have to add a change here, and then it's the atomic habits that we talk about. So it's just adding one thing and then kind of getting used to it, and then compounding, adding something on top of it, and that way it's not as overwhelming. So
absolutely.
There you go.
So Tiffany and I one time did, some of these on my list here overlap, but we did a webinar for first-time home buyers.
We did.
3 or 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
And or you can do a live first-time home buyer seminar.
And I've done one of those before. I did that at a public library.
Absolutely.
With a lender.
And those are really, really good, but you've got to have some stuff in the backside, the back scenes, that you've got to do some social media advertising. You need to have.
And don't be hurt if nobody comes.
Right.
Still, like, take pictures like there's people there and post it, because at least it's passive marketing on social media.
Absolutely. And then you educate. That's what you do. You educate. I will say it's still the American dream to own a house. Maybe not quite as much as it was in my generation growing up, but it should be, because real estate's still the best wealth building tool.
Absolutely.
To do that. And by getting in a webinar, you get to get in front of many people.
Especially
at one
with
time.
this one that we were doing.
Yeah, we were having, 60 or so people show up?
It was a lot of people. And then it was through a company. I think we yielded maybe 1 or 2 clients out of it, which isn't terrible.
Correct. The clients, those that actually closed transactions.
And that one was, I'm trying to think. I don't even remember the name of the company, but it cost money, and I don't remember though. But it was pretty useful, and it was at the same time. I think that sometimes doing stuff like that helps you stay on top of your game, because it's that repetition of saying the same thing, and then you already kind of know what to say, and it's just practice for you. And
I'll throw in on that, one of the things, we chose a company to help us do some of the promotion and advertising, and they tested different types of webinars. First-time homebuyer webinars are what drew the most people in that actually converted to clients. Now, I used the 1 in 55 conversations, so we may have had 80 people on our webinars.
And we did 2 or 3 of them.
And we did 2 or 3 of them as clients, though I'm still following up with a couple of them. So we may end up converting a few more, but it's just a way to get in front of a lot of people if you have a heart for doing first-time home buyers.
And I think that's what you just said is a really thing that we need to remember too. We tend to get discouraged if we don't get a client that's immediately out of our most recent work. And if you really do stay on top of them, add them to your database and follow up with them, they might not be a client now, but they might be in 2 years. So it's hard sometimes to tell your ROI, your return on investment of what you're doing whenever it's not an immediate client and it's not an immediate closing. But if you do your job and stay in front of them, they could potentially come one down the line. Or if you stay on top of them, they could go, hey, I know a realtor, and refer you to a friend. So that's kind of a big thing too, is it's really, the hardest part about our job is knowing our numbers, because our numbers can be scattered sometimes.
The easiest part about our job is knowing our numbers. The hardest part about our job is writing them down and keeping them somewhere.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not hard to know your numbers.
Like that might be true. Well, and that might be for me, because I really am not the best at that, so it's kind of one of those situations.
And realtors out there, you're not probably the best at that knowing your number stuff. Most, not all, gosh, there are plenty of introverted engineering type realtors that do very well. And probably the reason they do well is they don't have the skill of going out and talking to 400 people in a day, or maybe they force themselves to, but they have systems in place to do it.
And we're the opposite, where we'll talk to 400,000 people, but we have no systems, so we're not really the best at following.
And it's like, oh my gosh, that lady was so nice, and she said she had money and she wanted to get a house, and I'm like, oh, where did I put that?
Yeah.
So
what sticky note is that on? Somewhere.
Yeah, look at my desk.
Yeah.
So we got sphere of influence, always, 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 number one pillar for referrals, number one pillar for clients. We've got webinars, that's a possibility. We've also got picking a niche market. And there's a whole bunch of them on my little list here that are about niche markets. How do you do a niche market? Well, you got to pick your niche, or niche, whatever. I'm a Texan, niche. And that can be done in a whole lot of ways. You can do a niche market that is just by occupation or demographic. You can go after doctors, lawyers. I don't recommend that one. Doctors, lawyers, nurses, military people. Well, then you've got to skill up in what programs and things are out there to help them purchase and move and buy and all of that.
And there are a lot of agents that specialize with like Homes for Heroes.
Absolutely.
So
Homes for Heroes is a program out there that helps you generate leads inside of that, and for that there's a cost, but it's a good good program that does a lot of promotion. So pick a niche market. A niche market can also be a condo building.
Yes.
Or
there's some
something.
agents that specifically work in TMP.
Yeah, we don't have that quite as much in this market here in the
We don't
Fort
have
Worth
a lot
area.
of condos.
We don't have a lot of condos, but hopefully there are more coming because I want to move into one.
No, you don't.
The other and kind of maybe final thing, except we'll throw a few steps in here in a minute, is gosh, I just went blank.
Oh, this one's a big one. We could do a whole one on that one.
Oh, well, yeah, that's a step two.
Yeah,
First
that could be a
buyer
whole
stuff. Listings right now. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, go
but
ahead.
We'll go to this one. Listings right now. If you want to go after listings, I promise you, go get RedX or get on your phone, get on your computer and look up phone numbers and read mine. Work expireds, or maybe even better than that. Like today in the area that I search, which is Fort Worth-ish, 7 expireds popped up, and I should be in my car right now instead of recording this. Not really. Door knocking those
We give up
expireds.
lead generation time for this, guys.
We do. Go door knock them. Door knock the expireds. Bring them something. Bring them a market analysis. Bring them
I don't know
anything.
if I'd bring on market analysis.
Oh, well, I used to have, there was a guy, and I did this for a little while. We'd have a dynamite tube, like a mailer tube. It was red.
yeah.
I'm not sure you'd get in trouble for this now. Who knows? And we'd put a little, if you'd listed with the right agent, your house would have exploded on the market
No,
or something like that.
Can't use that.
And
saying bomb on a plane.
I know. And it got so many phone calls from expireds.
I bet it did.
And most of them were friendly. So,
Yeah.
I remember my other one, Geoform, which goes with that one too. And it's several things else. Another thing you really should do, this is a long-term, unless you're in the real estate business and you plan to be here for, 6 months or a year, let's start a little bit of a long-term thing that builds over time, and that's with a geofarm. What's a geofarm?
What's a geofarm?
A geofarm is a geographical location. By the way, I want you to know I hate the word farm, but it's basically picking a neighborhood and
just
being
honing
there
in.
all the time.
And it can be your neighborhood or it could be a different neighborhood.
I hate my personal neighborhood, not because I really hate it.
Well,
but
I think a lot of people don't like to eat where they sleep or whatever it's called.
yeah, that's not how I would have heard it before, but yeah, never mind. Pick a neighborhood, and you think, oh my gosh, let's go pick a neighborhood that has 2,000 houses in it.
That's a lot.
No,
Of like
I
500.
personally recommend even less,
250.
even 200 to 250.
Yeah.
And maybe it's part of a neighborhood. It's not the whole neighborhood.
If you're going to do mailings, you get a discount if you do over 500.
Okay. But pick that neighborhood and work the heck out of it. I know an agent right now that she has picked her little neighborhood. She literally start small. She picked a street.
Oh.
It's a pretty big street. And she's working this street to no end. They're having kind of
A neighborhood party.
well, sort of, yeah. It's more
Yeah.
like drinks in the driveway.
My neighborhood
kind of
does
a
that
thing.
all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Where you just kind of invite all your neighbors to get to know each other and bring out a bottle of wine if that's your thing, or soda, or in my case it'd be iced tea or coffee.
Yeah.
But bring that out. Get to know your neighbors. And if 2 or 3 or 4 of them show up, great. You get to hand out your cards and you get to have those conversations. Conversations are the key. There are so many ideas that we could talk about. I want to reiterate one thing. I know I've talked a lot today. I'm sorry.
You're okay. I'm kind of tired today. I need coffee. So go for it.
So in lead generation, the secret is conversations. The more conversations you have about real estate, the more business you'll get, and follow up. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't go pick a neighborhood with 2,000 people in it. Go pick one with 200. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't get a list like this. Don't go Google lead generation stuff. Go Google it. I recommend you do that. But pick 1 or 2 things
That worked for you.
and work them out.
Yeah.
So, an example. Some people, I joked a while ago that I hate lawyers, and that's halfway true. But Some people really want to work probate and divorce. Well, the way you get probate and divorce leads, one of them is to go talk to lawyers that do probate and divorce.
Have attorney friends.
If you don't like lawyers, don't do that one. Pick something else. Pick doctors. Pick businesses. Go do a little thing with businesses. So many ways to create a real synergetic relationship with small businesses. But again, don't pick 30. You're not going to do 30. You're not going to be able to build your business because you're going to be overwhelmed with all the stuff you have to do. And that works for nobody.
Don't overwhelm yourself.
No. And then when you've got those 2 or 3 working, add a 4th. You can do that. But I really believe you'll never have to do more than 5.
No, I don't think
5 lead generation sources.
And I think sometimes that also, 5, but maybe not 5 all at once. Like some of them are going to be things that are going to interchange. Like maybe you're somebody that you always do just sold or just listed postcards. You know, that's not something that is a continuous thing that's always happening. You wait until you close a house and then you do your postcard. So it's not something that is constantly taking up a lot of mental energy or can be overwhelming. Some are going to rotate in and out.
Yeah, see, I say just listed, just sold postcards, they're not really as much of a lead generator as they are a step in lead generation.
It was an example.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that to y'all too. They are, I personally, man, when I started back 100 years ago when the Pony Express was delivering mail.
Showing houses on horseback.
That is so not true. But we used to do just listed, just sold postcards every single time a house sold.
I actually know agents that do it, and they actually still work.
Yeah, absolutely.
I photograph a lot of her listings, and they do. She's like, oh yeah, I got this one because it's in the same neighborhood. I'll photograph a house, and then like a few months later, I'm in the same neighborhood. She's like, yeah, this is a lead from a postcard that I sent out after I sold that house that you photographed.
Absolutely.
So
it works.
They work.
That's true marketing for stuff, and it does generate you leads. It's kind of a passive lead generation.
I also have an agent that I do listing photography for that is amazing at door knocking.
Oh.
I mean, she's got it down, and I'm like, good for you, because that's not something that I have in me.
I know several, but guys, if you heard that out there, and then we're going to wrap this up. If you heard that out there, and you're like, oh my God, I'll never go knock on a door. Don't. That's okay.
Yeah.
But gotta pick something. You have to be proactive. You have to be moving forward and doing this every day. I learned one thing in real estate school one time, and this my instructor guy said, real estate as an agent becomes a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. I could see that.
And by that he meant...
That's where the hashtag realtor life came from.
Correct. By that he meant no matter what...
You're always working.
You're always working.
You're always working.
That doesn't mean you're always working like, 9 to 5, I'm here, doing whatever. You're always working. You're always on because it is a lifestyle.
Even when you're on vacation, you're on.
Yeah, you have to be really good about that. And we've grown a lot in my 30 some odd years to turn some of that stuff off. But guys, I hope this was helpful to you. We will get this thing up, posted and ready to go, and we'll talk to you next week. So have fun. This is Tiffindale Rescue Realtors. Go.
Oh, like, follow, comment, love us.
There you
share,
go.
All that fun stuff.
Facebook, everything. On Instagram,
YouTube.
Mostly YouTube and Apple Podcasts. Make sure you leave us a review. Even if you don't believe it, give us a 5-star review. It'll really, really help. And if you have any questions, always put a comment. We'll find it. We'll answer it for you. All right. Have a great week, y'all. Bye.